Hello, everyone. If I can have your attention for a few minutes, please. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody here for coming to this event and hear the announcement of the Midnight OpenZeppelin partnership. If you haven't heard about Midnight, we're a new ZK privacy-focused protocol that will launch later this year. We believe privacy with selective disclosure is important to see the next generation of blockchain adoption. For us, as you walk around today, you have your lanyards. And on your lanyard, you will put your name. And every now and then, you will flip it over so that nobody sees your name. So you can mingle privately in the crowd to find out what you need to find out. And then when you want to expose who you are, you flip your lanyard over, but you are selectively disclosing information. Just your name, maybe where you work. You don't tell me your wallet address. You don't tell me how much Bitcoin you own and how much money you're making. And yet, in blockchains today, when Bitcoin gave us that freedom and decentralization, we gave up our privacy. We accepted it was okay for everybody to know what we do on-chain, how much we own, what we transact, who we're transacting with. So Midnight will bring back privacy and make it a core tenet with that selective disclosure. And the other thing we will do at Midnight is give away transactions for free. Because when you transact on any blockchain today, you cannibalize the asset that you want to hold and own. Why is it okay for you to cannibalize your ETH holding or your Solana holdings just because you want to transact? So Midnight, we will give you a privacy resource, a computational power that will give you those transactions for free. And I would urge you to speak to some of the Midnight folks to learn more about that. But we're here today to talk about the partnership with OpenZeppelin. And I hope that shows some of the ambitions we have at Midnight in terms of who we want to collaborate with and the reach we want to achieve. And I want to thank the OpenZeppelin team for their faith in us. OpenZeppelin are the largest dev tooling, audit, smart contract platform out there. Go online, have a look at what they do. They put through billions, if not trillions of flow through their smart contracts. A lot of DeFi TVLs locked up through their smart contracts. So I want to say thank you especially to Luca and to Jonathan for their faith in us. I also want to thank Charles Hodgkinson for his faith. When we first told him about the potential of working with OpenZeppelin, he said, make that dream come true. So I want to also shout out to Ian Kane, our head of partnership, who first brought it to my attention. And I went, no, that won't happen. This conversation's gone through with their support and also the OpenZeppelin team. So I want to thank them very much. I want to thank everybody for joining today. We will do great things at Midnight with the team at OpenZeppelin. And I want to hand over to Luca to come and say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks, Fahmi. Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. We're very excited about the partnership. It's been a few months in the making. Our mission is to accelerate and protect the open economy. And the open economy needs privacy, obviously. And so we're excited. We're going to be building a lot of our OpenZeppelin contracts, starter apps, developer tooling for Midnight. So you're going to see that being released this year. We're also going to be doing security audits for that. So you'll feel good in using all of those libraries and those tools going into production. And we hope we can replicate a lot of the success that we've had on Ethereum, right? I mean, Fahmi mentioned we actually have, I think, more than $20 trillion of total value transferred for our libraries. $140 billion of TVL uses OpenZeppelin contracts. So, you know, we hope to keep to that standard and you'll have all of that great tooling. So I think we're going to have a quick chat with Jonathan and Ben. Jonathan, our CTO, and Ben, the CTO of Midnight, and Mauricio. So I'll hand it over to you. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Yeah. Jonathan, Ben, come over. I promise I won't be controversial. Not. Okay, do we have, okay, cool. So I'm Mauricio, I'm head of product for Midnight. Pleasure to be here with you all today. You heard a lot from Fahmi, so I'll let these guys introduce themselves. Jonathan, welcome.
Hi everybody, I'm Jonathan. I'm CTO at OpenZeppelin. I oversee all the work we do on our libraries and tools. I've been with OpenZeppelin since 2018.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. So hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Ben Beckmann. I'm the CTO for Midnight. I've been working for IOHK, working on Cardano and all of the applications that we have over there. Now working on Midnight to bring that to reality. both through our technical drop, the applications that you're going to be able to build with the privacy-preserving contracts, and then all of the applications that you guys are going to come bring to the environment that we'll happy to support and work with partners like OpenZeppelin to make sure you have the most secure contracts you can have.
Okay, I'll take that as a segue on the first question. Most secure. So this is my cheat sheet, okay, so bear with me. So in terms of security, what do you see as the biggest threats currently in blockchain and crypto Web3? What are the things that you guys as CTOs lose sleep over?
Well, I mean, if I have to say what is the biggest threat, the first thing that comes to mind is the Lazarus group. But if we're talking about, and I think maybe we should talk some about how a privacy platform is going to actually help even in that regard. But as in terms of development, we know that smart contracts for many years have been a huge area of concern. People are always talking about smart contracts getting hacked. And we like to think that, as you heard, OpenZeppelin, we track it, over $20 trillion has been transacted through our smart contracts. And we like to think we've helped protect the open economy. And how do we do that? By carefully crafting libraries that people can then rely on, that carefully testing them, verifying them, having them audited. So the most important thing as a developer in any system is to follow patterns and use reliable components, and that's the place to start, and that's why we're really happy to be getting started right on the ground floor with Midnight. We're very excited about TypeScript as a basis for developing the contracts, and we want to lay down, give you building blocks so then you'll know you can be safe.
Well, and just to extend on that a little bit, all right, so if you are able to start with these foundational building blocks that you can know and you can trust, then you can take those, and as a developer, the developers spend a lot of time weaving things together. So looking on what's available from places like OpenZeppelin, seeing what they can get, how they can integrate that, how they can put that to work. Those types of integrations are where uncertainty can show up and where you can have security vulnerabilities. In addition to that, if you look at Web3 today, everything is open. Everybody can see the value that you hold. So, your own personal security is somewhat at risk if people can figure out who you are and if they have a grudge against you. So what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to have systems that have the capability to be able to do these types of interactions so that both you and then others that want to come in and have these privacy components are able to take those tools off the shelf, reuse, remix, and repeat, and build out the applications that you need. But without that solid foundation, now you're kind of, you're standing on something that might not be as structurally sound as you may choose. And what we've decided, just as kind of launching Midnight, as Jonathan mentioned, let's start with the best of breed. Let's bring them into the ecosystem. Let's use the experience that these guys have and have demonstrated over the years, and let's apply that to giving you all back your privacy.
And if there's one other thing I could say about this, as well as the components and all the things we've heard about and maybe some people here have experienced with smart contracts and potential exploits. Smart contract development is really just, in many ways, it is just software development. And if you've been working in any software development, not even just blockchain, you know that the development process, the release process, the testing process is also a crucial part of achieving security. So one of the things that we at OpenZeppelin focus on, and that we'll be working in collaboration with the Midnight team and the development community, is to give you tools to make sure that things are in place for full testability, that you have the tools for secure deploy and being able to build an automated pipeline of testing and deployment and post-release testing. These are and safety in upgrading and replacing components. So these are all really critical too, and part of what we intend to work on.
Yeah, I think I'm going to turn this to privacy conversation. I think we grew a lot accustomed, especially in the Web 2 world with social media, to just, give our data away for, not necessarily great service. And there's this quote I steal from someone that's like, if the service is free, the product is you. And ultimately, the product is your data. It's what gets monetized. We don't get to monetize the data that's on, Facebook or Twitter, right? They do. And some of us even pay to use those things. Like, that's double dipping on your own data, which is crazy, right? If you think about it in a privacy perspective. Web3, as Fami was saying at the start, we got really used also to be pseudonymized, right? I have a wallet ID that no one can actually articulate because it's a bunch of letters and numbers, but ultimately you can tie that up to behavior, and we are defined by our behaviors, and we're defined by our financial behaviors more than anything else, and we are living in the financialized web with Web3. So how do you guys perceive the paradigm that we're entering, in which with Midnight we're starting to provoke that thinking? And in the conversation we had this week especially, people are like, I never thought of that. Like, oh yeah, sure. And ultimately, what are the tools that we in this partnership are looking to bring to actually enhance and give that power back to developers so they can get their users back in track and owning their own data?
So maybe I'll start with that one and then turn it over to you for the tools. So I'm going to kind of repeat the story I told just a moment ago, right? If you're on existing blockchains, it's all public, it's all transparent, and there's lots of problematic things that can show up with that, right? You can definitely pick up signals, you can definitely figure out who people are, you can definitely make plays either for or against them. That's obviously something you can do with these systems. The issue with that is it restricts who can come into the market. So the only applications that can come into the market are ones that can tolerate that level of transparency. So basically, most of your financial life is private, right? This morning I bought a coffee at the coffee shop. It's between me, the barista, probably the credit card company, but that's about it. Nobody can profile me, nobody can understand, what the activity is there. Whereas if I did this in Web3, this would be trivial, right? They would easily be able to figure out who Ben was, they'd figure out what my coffee habit is, and then they start marketing various coffee beans to me. So if you want to be able to enable adoption from applications that actually require privacy, or it's just in the interest of the business that wants to protect their customer data, then you have to have these tools. The tools that we build on top of are ZK tools that allow you to build the transactional evidence on your side of the internet, submit a proof to the chain that's validated on the chain. The chain literally doesn't even know what the smart contract is. And so by having that types of technologies and working with OpenZeppelin on their tools, we think we can provide you with the best in class and the best in breed experience to both be able to take the tools that you need and put them to work, and then apply them through the tools that OpenZeppelin has already successfully fielded.
Absolutely. We, at OpenZeppelin, we're a big part of our business is we're a security auditor. The last few years, we've been doing more and more audits for traditional enterprises that are beginning to deploy, wanting to deploy and utilize blockchain, bring assets that they have and value they have and make it tradable and make it available. But they're still reluctant, and we hear over and over again now the concern that they don't want their business to be known. And it's a requirement for them to have a platform, and that's one of the reasons why we're excited about Midnight. It's also a requirement that they be able to work effectively. I think there's a lot of things that we see in the Midnight architecture that we think are going to be really attractive there. But the other thing is that any big holder, any big actor is exposed, and when it comes to concerns about privacy, I will go back to what just happened. I mean, honestly, the Bybit situation was not only the worst social attack that's occurred and the worst hack in the history of Web3, as far as I know, it is the worst single social attack that has occurred in the world. $1.4 billion. And it was a two-part attack because the way they got the exploit there was an attack, but the social attack was really on Bybit was really that they knew that these cold wallets existed with these huge amounts of ETH, and they targeted that very, very surgically, and so privacy is there to protect individuals and value holders, and is actually necessary, and we won't defeat these social attacks if we don't have it, which is why we have to have it.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I think one of the key things on that attack particularly is that the hackers have time. And if you're in a public database, you can accumulate data over time. If you're on a privacy blockchain, it doesn't matter the time because they're not going to see anything. So it is a layer of protection that we really have to take into account. Now, if I'm a developer in this, okay, I'm not claiming anything. If I'm a developer in the Web3, what are the key considerations in building privacy-enhancing technologies or applications going forward? What are the top 3 things that developers need to pay attention to? And I'll go with you first, Ben.
Well, so first off, they have to understand the system, the capabilities of the system, how you build Web3 contracts. Then they need to also understand what non-interactive means, right? So you can build certain applications where if you roll the dice enough times, you could win. But so you have to build our systems if you want to be both Web3 and privacy preserving that don't have those types of flaws in it. So there's some education that we have to do to show people how you build these in the appropriate way, because you could certainly, do something that you didn't know you had. We're adding tools into the language that we provide that we cutely call the Witness Protection Program. So the witness is your private information. If you want to disclose that either directly or through a computation, we do static analysis of your program, and we make sure that as a developer, you have to say that this is a disclosable piece of information. The nice part about that is that can be used to signal to the user, kind of like permissions on your cell phone, to tell you what information this application is either sharing to the chain or sharing to somewhere else, because it's explicit in the disclosure clause of the language that you wrote. So those types of tools we're adding fundamentally down into the language that lets us support the capability, and then we're working, I would say, kind of open kimono with companies like OpenZeppelin to get partners to come in to use the language to request contract types that they want, right? I want a private auction, I want a private escrow, those types of things. And then by working with these gentlemen, we can figure out what's the best model for that, how do you build those types of systems, and then what are the variations on top of it, right? Because it might not just be a simple contract.
Our goal will be, for you as developers, there may be kind of 3 things you need to do. One is you need to develop smart contracts. One is you need to develop UIs, and one may be that you need to integrate existing systems like Web 2 systems with these applications and smart contracts. So we're going to provide you libraries for each. We're going to provide, OpenZeppelin's going to work on smart contracts, UI components, and tools for integrating with Web 2. And the other thing we're going to strive to do is that if you're already a developer who uses OpenZeppelin and you're familiar with standards in the Ethereum space or one of the other spaces we work with, we're going to work to make it as familiar to you as possible so that you'll be able to quickly take concepts you have and things you know about and translate it over to build on Midnight as quick as possible. So.
Yeah, so we're about to wrap up, so I do have a couple of invitations. So we're building Midnight. We have a Discord channel where any developer can join. We will be gradually opening the repos for the community to contribute code. So there will be a Midnight improvement process kicking out somewhere down in Q2, I think. And obviously, we'll build in the open with the OpenZeppelin team. So by all means, get in touch. Any parting words, Dr. Beckmann?
Just testnet's live. Come give it a try. Come use it. Come tell us what you like. Come tell us what you don't like. I, in a way, prefer the don't like because I can fix those things before we get to mainnet. So please come actively test it out. We are making improvements. It's going to get twice as fast in the next release, which is exciting for me. And just to brag a little bit, in our testnet, we had 100 SPOs running permissionless nodes. So we run 10, there's 100 others, we don't even know most of them. They're operating the network today in testnet, so that's very appealing for me.
GitHub.com/OpenZeppelin, docs.openzeppelin.com, wizard.openzeppelin.com. Keep an eye out. Midnight will start to appear in all 3 places. And anybody who doesn't want to have the Bybit signing problem, go to safeutils.openzeppelin.com. All right?
Good one. That's all we have for tonight. Thank you, guys. And by all means, drinks, food, and let's connect. Thank you.